of East Asia down to Mumbai.
Yeah.
Please.
Thank you, Chris. Good afternoon to you all. This is my first introduction to the forum, and thank you Foundation for having me here. So my previous speaker spoke more on broader aspect affecting innovations and related area. I come from an academic environment. I'll speak on specific aspects of academia, role of academia for fostering innovation and business incubators in commercializing innovations. So this is going to be an overview of my presentation. I'll focus more on business incubation at IIT Bombay that we have been undertaking and the kind of ecosystem and impact that we have generated so far. So a very quick glance on government policies at various point of time, more as a historical aspect. So until 90, we had this philosophy of self-sufficiency, and we adopted a very protective economy. But in early 90, we started liberalization process, and since then we saw a very rapid growth of knowledge-based economy in our country. A brief introduction to the Indian Institute of Technology, IIT Bombay, which is hosting our entity. So IIT Bombay is set up as an institute of national importance under Act of Parliament. There are 7 IITs in the country. They are full universities. They have bachelor's, master research programs. IIT Bombay has 5,000 students and 450 faculty members. IIT Bombay has significant R&D activities going on in collaboration with the industry. We have very well-laid processes for commercialization of technologies as well as innovation. But then it was pointed out, why not to create a base for entrepreneurship so that there is a faster commercialization of innovations and also growth of applied innovations. But when we took this decision, we didn't have any prior experience in business incubation management in our country. In fact, ours was pioneering experiment in our country. But then we realized that it can't happen in isolation. So we started academic programs in our management school. We also encourage our students to set up entrepreneurship cell to create awareness about the concept. So when we took this decision, what was the national scenario for new venture creation? On one hand, it was very conducive environment because economy was growing very fast. We were seen as technologically competent people, and we graduate every year 400,000 engineers in our country. But there were so many barriers, and some of them were very specific to our society. So opportunity trade-off between entrepreneurship and high-paying job, it was very high. We didn't have early stage finance available in our country. So we had a small VC community, but their focus was not really early stage technology startup. Traditionally, we have entrepreneurial population, but typically they are into family businesses. So when we started, there weren't too many role models in first generation entrepreneurship. Overall, macro level ecosystem was not really mature, and failure, at least at that time, was a big social stigma in our country that required major change in the mindset, and it was quite a challenge for us. So with this background, we decided to set up the first incubator in our university. And we decided to set up this incubator in a pilot mode because we weren't too confident about commercial venture. Again, we limited this pilot only for certain areas, that is information technology and software, because they were sunrise industry in our country during that time, and it was easier to attract young graduates to create, the ventures in those areas. Again, we funded this pilot from private money so that we could we had flexibility to experiment with our activities. We created infrastructure for 8 companies. We adopted equity-based model so that there is not much cash burden on our companies, our startups. And focus was very clear: popularize entrepreneurship as a viable career option. But pilot gave us very, very encouraging response. So over a period of 4 to 5 years, we incubated 13 companies. Numbers do sound small, but when we started with that circumstances, this is a big number for us. Further, it also had a multifold impact. So initially, typically companies were student-driven companies. And because of, again, IT boom and so on and so forth, couple of companies got either acquired or funded. And that invited the attention of our faculty members. They started thinking that if young students can create their startup, why can't we create our startup, because we have a mature technology and longer research base. And thus we got several faculty driven company in our incubator, and it had a domino effect. People from other engineering disciplines started approaching us. Why you limit this only for software or IT area, and why not to expand the base scope to cover other engineering disciplines? It also gave us first-hand experience in managing a high-tech incubator. We learned startup dynamics. We evolved processes and business model. Significantly, government started noticing us. So by then, government was also working on various programs aiming at incubators, and thus we started working together. We shared our practices with them. We also explained pain areas to them. So lack of early stage fund, no seed money available. And the whole process created a very, very sound base for expansion of our incubation. And 2 years back, 2004, our host institute decided to spin off the incubator into an independent commercial entity. Now we have functional autonomy. We got our funding from the institute, government, as well as alumni. We also introduced new programs in our incubation activity. So pre-incubation program and virtual incubation program. So sometimes what happened was that, what we realized that team would come with very good idea, but it further required maturity level, or it required further work so that it comes to a maturity level to set up a venture. Or sometimes technology is very mature, but team is not in place, or business model is not in place. So such kind of companies, we put it in our pre-incubation program. We give them milestones, and based on milestones, we absorb them in our regular incubation program. Similarly, sometimes some companies don't require physical infrastructure from us because they require larger fabrication facilities, so on and so forth, but they want other benefits of the incubator. And such companies we accommodate in our virtual incubation program. But the whole pilot gave us a very good lesson. What we realized is that incubation model has to be based on your local strength, and it should also cater to your local requirement. And thus we adopted a broad spectrum business incubation model to include social as well as strategic aspects. So we incubate technology startups not only from economic or wealth generation viewpoint, which is a natural choice, but we also admit companies in our incubator which has more strategic importance over wealth generation, or which have direct social benefit. So I'll give you a very, very local example. In India, certain regions have very vast cultivation of bamboo. Bamboo is one kind of grass. And handicraft industry in this region is pretty active. But the problem with the bamboo handicraft industry is, one is the finishing, the finish, and second is higher productivity, faster productivity. We have a faculty member in our university who has designed a very specific toolkit and machinery to address these aspects, and now he wants to create a social venture. So we are going to admit them. So as then we also created a very structured framework. So during our pilot project, we were pretty informal in our processes. People would come, they would discuss idea, and we would admit them. Now we have gone into a very focused structure. So admission in the incubator now is based on evaluation, business plan evaluation. Consideration model also we have evolved from pure equity to hybrid model, which is now equity come revenue sharing. We also take some nominal charge. Typical support we give is for 2 to 3 years. We also get into legal relationship with our company so that we can enforce terms and conditions on them. And the kind of facilities and services that we have created. So, yeah. Physical infrastructure is such that team can walk in and get started from the next day, but we emphasize a lot on ecosystem, because we realize that for any startup, it requires much more than physical infrastructure. It requires connectivity to the business network support, requires seed fund. Now we run our own seed fund also. It requires exposure to the industry, investors, markets, so on and so forth. It also requires continuing upgrading of the skill. And we have events so we organize various showcasing events and exhibit event where our companies can exhibit their product. We periodically organize workshop, training program for skill upgrading. So when we talk about ecosystem, what do we have? I already said about academic programs, seed funding. We have created network of professional resources. So we have our mentors program where we assign our mentors to each startup in our incubator. We also hire expert and technical resources. We pay them, and our companies can avail their services. So these experts are typically legal expert, IP consultant, accounting experts, so on and so forth. We have also started getting, we also get into formal association with organizations focusing on entrepreneurship. So NEN stands for National Entrepreneurship Network, TIE stands for the Indus Entrepreneur. They are the most active organization in our country focusing on entrepreneurship. And we are founding partner of NEN. We also have association with TIE. And now the whole 6 years of incubation activity, the impact that we have generated, we have incubated so far 28 companies. 4 got folded up, but then 9 got acquired or graduated. 11 companies got funded while they were in the incubator. Many companies launched their product while again when they were in the incubator. Close to 500 jobs have been created. Significantly, 10 technologies got transferred in favor of the startup in our incubator in last 2 years, just 2 years. Now we are talking to the private industry corporates for setting up early stage equity fund dedicated for our companies. And we are also working on future plan, which is 50 companies incubator. We are talking about setting up of venture labs and technology park for backward and forward synergy. And we are also trying to create some academic India specific content. We also regularly represent on various government committees dealing with entrepreneurship. So for example, we were part of a committee which recently submitted a report to the government for growth of VC community in our country. Even in previous fiscal budget, certain tax incentives were announced for incubating companies in India. And concluding remarks. So we feel that business incubators are great accelerator for innovation and entrepreneurship, and they work the best when they are closer to the knowledge center. But it also requires change in the mindset and generating ecosystem, which is more important and often more difficult. All stakeholders need to be involved. Government support is very crucial. Again, incubation focus needs to be on local strength, and model needs to be customized for local situation. Currently, we have 25 incubators in our country. It's a relatively new initiative, but we are catching up very fast. And then there are challenges. So incubators typically require high upfront investment. It also requires sustainable model because it has to survive on its own operation. It requires good deal flow because to survive even you require critical mass, availability of early stage fund, and conducive government policies. But again, there are great opportunities. They accelerate growth of innovation commercialization and applied research. They are the great booster for SME sector, small and medium enterprise sector. And we feel that incubators can effectively exploit local strength for nations' social and strategic needs. And studies have also shown that they are less expensive tool for employment generation program vis-a-vis other programs. Thank you.